Welcome to Longer Looks, a podcast that digs deeper into the news stories that only get a few minutes on TV. I'm AJ Janavel, and today we're heading down to Thurston County, Washington, where there has been a story that has been going on really since early May. It started off as breaking news. We heard about it, we sent crews down, we were covering it when it happened. Essentially, investigators said that they were pursuing a suspect, the suspect was fleeing from them, and then that suspect started shooting at them. That was what we got to start off. We started getting more details as they came in. We learned that investigators were aware of the person who was shooting. Investigators say that it was 27-year-old Damien Madison. Ironically, the day of this incident was Damien Madison's actual birthday. And so what happened was investigators were trying to pull over Madison. He was in the car with his fiancé, investigators say. The fiancé was behind the wheel and Madison was riding passenger. And according to the probable cause documents, according to what investigators say, is the suspects wouldn't pull over. Instead, they tried to take off, hitting speeds of 70 plus miles per hour. And then deputies say that Madison started shooting at them with an AR-15. We have video from the dash cam of when investigators say that shooting started to happen. You can actually hear in this video that deputy talk about it. So let's take a look at the moment that a Thurston County deputy starts reporting that they're being shot at by an AR-15. Again, so that is the dash cam footage from that actual incident. We got that much later, this incident happening early May. But what I'm going to show you now is from the very night that this happened. We spoke with the sheriff of Thurston County, Washington, Sheriff Derek Sanders. And from that night, you could tell that this was not a normal crime. There was more passion seemingly from the sheriff with this case. What I want you to do is just take a look at what he had to say that night.
I actually specifically stated that if the judges don't start taking this seriously, that someone's going to get hurt or killed. And here we are, shooting at the police. So maybe they'll take it more serious this time, but I'm not confident.
And you can hear the frustration in the sheriff's voice from that clip there. So here's what happened. Deputies were able to make an arrest that night, but it was not Damien Madison. They arrested his fiancé. Essentially, Madison was able to escape. His fiancé got arrested. Investigators say Madison used his network of friends and family to get out of town. Someone dyed his hair, someone gave him a car, and he was out of the state. It wasn't for another few days that Madison would get arrested by law enforcement outside of the state, all the way the Nevada, California border. And we have video of when law enforcement arrested Madison. It's interesting to note because you're going to see it's a helicopter. And they use this thing that's called a grappler. It's a new device that law enforcement is incorporating. I've done some stories on it. It's something like out of James Bond or Batman. So high-speed chases with law enforcement are a controversial topic, and law enforcement are working on ways that they can avoid getting into these situations. They have things like tracking devices that they're utilizing, and what you're going to see is this other tool called the grappler. So let's take a look as law enforcement outside of the state is able to detain Madison.
Controller 2.
There's quite a few updates. You're aware of them.
Give us a red. They have the vehicle stopped 4 miles south of Jean, northbound I-15.
You can even hear in the video as they say, good grapple. They were able to stop that car almost dead in its tracks and force it off the road. So that was a few weeks ago. We're now into June, and Madison was just extradited back to Washington. So He appeared in court today. He is facing a litany of charges, which include unlawful possession of a gun, first-degree assault, drive-by shooting, all of those charges directed toward a deputy. On top of those current charges, he already has several active cases in Thurston County, as well as several convictions. So I was in court today, and the prosecuting attorney was going over the charges, and you could feel the serious tone that was in the voice of the prosecuting attorney during the hearing. So let's take a look at court from today, from the state's point of view, as they're speaking to a judge and addressing these charges.
He was willing to sacrifice his own safety, the safety of the men and women in this community that give their lives every single day, and that he fired upon them in such a wanton and disregard for the safety of everyone in this community is abhorrent to the state. Mr. Madison is someone who poses an extreme danger to himself, to the loved one that was with him, to everyone who operates a motor vehicle.
Very serious tone. Really choosing the words wisely, concern across the board. After the prosecuting attorney went through this list of charges, they asked the bail to be set at $1 million, and the judge actually responded and said, "Why are you not asking for no bail?" This is a case with the charges that Madison faces where you could see life in prison. One thing that was interesting was the courtroom today was packed, and it was packed specifically with Thurston County Sheriff's deputies. There was about 50 deputies in the courtroom. Got a chance to speak with Sheriff Derek Sanders after the hearing and ask him. You had a lot of deputies in the courtroom. What was the reason? This is what he said.
If you think that no one got hurt, you don't get shot at and just come back normal. I don't care who you are, whether you're in law enforcement or military, member of the community. Anytime you've got rounds flying your way, you don't come out of that the same on the other side.
And so Sheriff Sanders talking about wanting to show support for his deputy who was targeted in this shooting and let him know that Thurston County Sheriff are there for them. Now, as already mentioned, Damien Madison, the suspect in this case, faces life behind bars because of these charges. And during the hearing, Madison appeared on screen. You saw him a little while ago when the prosecutor was talking. He appeared on screen, so you couldn't see him in person. But when the judge mentioned that he could face life in prison, you could see the response physically. And I don't want to say, because I perceived it a certain way, but I would like for you to watch it and see specifically how he responds. So this is a pretty long clip. In the background, you will be able to hear the attorneys speaking, but Madison is going to be the one on the right side of the screen in the orange, and this is just a few moments after the judge had mentioned he could face life behind bars.
Preliminary finding for today's purposes to hold Mr. Madison no bail on the two warrant matters, Your Honor.
Thank you. Mr. Gearhart, let me hear from you, and I wanted to give you an opportunity also to respond to the questions I put to Ms. Fitzgerald.
Thank you. So again, we will be reserving any argument at this time on the new matter in terms of bail, no bail hold, and conditions of release. We would ask that the motions filed by the state on the two older matters be rescheduled for an appropriate calendar and in-custody motions calendar. Mr. Martinez can be present. We will reserve any argument on the state's request for no bail holds on those two matters.
And what's your position regarding the 2025 charge?
We're reserving argument on that, whether it be the state's.
So you can see from the video, Madison putting his head into his hands, wiping away his eyes, seemingly impacted emotionally by what was going on in the courtroom. So I asked Sheriff Sanders, if he saw this and what his thoughts were after what has been weeks of waiting to get this suspect into a courtroom. This is what he said.
I hope there's some remorse, and regardless of how this case resolves, I mean, even for the worst of the worst offenders, I hope they can find a way to somehow become better people and amend what they've done.
So from this point, Madison will remain behind bars. No bail was set in this case, and the next steps in the process, there will be several hearings over the next few months. In court today, they expect this trial to start towards the end of the summer. They mentioned late July, early August. So this is definitely something that we're going to continue to keep an eye on. As for longer looks, we appreciate you taking the time to listen, and we'll have much more coming your way, digging deeper into the stories that you see every day on the news.